Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this presentation of Sage 100 Contractor. With us, we have Kathy Sherman. She is a Sage sales engineer, and she's going to be doing the demonstration. So a little bit about Aktion to get us started. Here are a few important points about Aktion Associates in case you don't already know about Aktion. We are a value-added reseller, so a VAR, top in the country, and we resell a lot of leading software for specific industries, including construction. Here are some really nice awards that we have won at Aktion, and also kind of some information about how big we are. We're about 200 employees. We have many customers that are Sage customers, Sage 100 Contractor. And we also have 2 company-owned data centers. So that means that a lot of our customers trust us to host their software as well. Here's a quick rundown of the construction and real estate division. So that is obviously including Sage 100 Contractor and some of the other pieces of software that we sell. And like I mentioned that we're a value-added reseller, we also support independent software vendors or ISVs that attach or add on to your Sage product to kind of customize it. So that was a quick rundown. And I'm sure you'll learn a little bit more about us as you get connected with your sales rep. Again, I am recording this, and here's my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me and or Kathy. And I'm going to hand it over to Kathy next.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. Can you? There's the share button. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you could let me know when you can see it.
I can. Oh, I forgot to
Does everything look
poll.
Okay? Oh, want me to wait a minute?
Goodness. I'm going to start a poll, everyone, real quick. Just asking some questions about your, oh goodness. Can't get out of my own way today. All right, I just started the poll. Yes, I can see your screen. Looks good, Kathy.
All right. I'll wait a second while everyone answers the 3 questions.
Awesome. Yeah, so as I mentioned before I started, these are questions that help us to know what kind of background you have with Sage 100 Contractor, and helps Kathy to tailor the presentation for what you need to see. So this helps us with that aspect. So if you wouldn't mind answering those 3 questions before we really get diving into the software, that would be helpful. And once again, if you have questions or comments, you can put them in the chat or the Q&A. All right, Kathy, if you want to go ahead, and I don't see many people responding to our questions, so I'd say go ahead and get going.
Okay. All right, we'll do so. Well, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sage 100 Contractor webcast. As Lauren mentioned, I'm Kathy Sherman. I am one of the pre-sales engineers here at Aktion Associates, and I'm going to walk you through a high-level overview of Sage 100 Contractor. As Lauren mentioned, if you need to see service receivables, so if you do anything with a service department or work orders, please let us know in the chat, because I saved that for the last part of the webcast, but I do want to cover it if that is a need that you have here today. I usually save it to the end because not everybody has service departments. So if you do, please let us know and I'll make sure to cover that. I'm going to spend about the next 30 minutes or so walking you through the look and feel of Sage 100 Contractor to give you a good idea of the power of this software. So you're looking at my home screen right now, my dashboard, not my dashboard, my home screen. I'm in the projects tab. So depending on your security and what you have the ability to see based on your login, you may or may not see all these tabs at the top. These are my modules. So for example, if I was a project manager, I might not have access to payroll or banking and ledger and things like that. So these tabs would go away. I wouldn't be able to see them. I wouldn't be able to access them. We have the ability to build full security throughout the program. I'm an admin user today, so I'm able to um, tool around the software as I need to. Where I'm going to start is, and this is an interesting place if you're running projects and you're really focusing on managing your projects and your job costing. We have what's called a project work center. So I'm going to switch it up today. I'm going to go ahead and drill down into my project work center. And what I see here is I see all things projects. So right now I'm in my job number 4, which is called my electrical job. And the power of the work center is I can see, think of this as being able to see everything related to this job number 4. Sage does a great job of being able to drill down and navigate throughout the program, especially when you're focusing on job costing and everything your job. So right now where I'm at is on the lower right-hand corner, I can have a high-level overview of my job. What's my contract amount? What are my approved change orders? What are my costs to date, etc. So I have all of that high-level overview with this job. Then I also have the ability on the upper left to run any reports related to this job. So if I wanted to run an AR report or a billing report, I can run them right from here. And the program knows that I want to run them for my job number 4. Now I can change my jobs. If I have access to many jobs, I'm able to go ahead and call up different jobs and have this information related to this job. But right now I'm just in job number 4. And then on the right-hand side, you can see I also have access to progress billings and accounts payable invoices and any change orders. All of this comes with that drill down functionality. So if I wanted to see pay application 9 here that I'm hovering over on line 27, I can go ahead and drill down into that. And now I am in my pay application. So now I can see my cost codes on this pay application, my schedule of values, what I've previously completed, what's current on this job, and so on. I'm getting all this information here on my screen. If I wanted to go ahead and print this pay application, I can click on my printing button there, and I can do, just to show you this, a quick print preview. And now I am in it's coming up on the screen, my progress billing. So this is a form that's right out of the system. Here's page 1, here's page 2, bringing in the information. In my case, this was by cost code, but I could have done this by division. It depends on how you need your progress bill set up and how you want that to look. We also have the ability to create different types of progress billing forms. So if you had maybe the GC you're working for or whoever you're working for might need a different format, this is a form that we can tweak and make custom changes to it if you needed some of the areas to look a little bit different. So just know that these forms can be modified if needed. That gives you an example of the AIA-like form. The other types of billing that we have time and material. We have a very strong T&M module. We have what I would call a quick bill. So if you didn't need progress type billing or T&M and you just wanted to create an invoice, that can be done out of the system as well. And if you're in the service sector and you wanted to invoice work orders, you can do that as well. So a lot of different options on the billing front. Now coming back to my work center, I can also look at my accounts payable invoices. So maybe I wanted to look at this materials invoice here. So I can just double click on that. And where this is going to take me is up at the top. I am directly in my AP invoices screen. So now I'm looking at this particular invoice for some materials for $7,750. If I want to go to my costs and see how this was job costed, I can do that as well. I can see what cost code, what cost type it was costed to, and get to the details. So once again, showing that very powerful drill down feature for all of the records within my project work center for a given job. So it becomes a nice central location to manage your jobs, to run reports, to drill down into the details and get to all of that information. So I'm going to close this out and I'm going to come back to my project screen and I'm going to go ahead and show my menu on the left. So I could have kept this number tree hidden. You have the option of hiding it or showing it. And this is really user preference. If you like the icons, like I drilled into the project work center, or I want to see a budget, I don't have to use the number tree. All of the number tree functionality is available in these icons. Like I said, it's user preference. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and expand these just so you can see all that is included with this program. It takes everything from basic estimating if you needed that, all the way to the job costing functionality, and then to your company's financial statements. So within one, which is our general ledger, you're going to get some of your accounting functions, your journal entries, your bank reconciliations, how you set up accounts and departments if you need departments. All of that will be in general ledger. Accounting reports, just that. This is where you're going to find those accounting reports. So your income statement, your balance sheet, your trial balance, your statement of cash flows. Like I said, it takes it all the way to your monthly, quarterly, annual financial statements. And then accounts receivable. This is where we were in a bit ago when I went into progress billing. And this is where you're going to find that time and materials billing I talked about, as well as those quick invoices and your AR agings, and all of those great reports will be in the accounts receivable. Like I said, available in the number 3 here, or if I go into my clients and service, you will also see down below here, I have the ability to set up invoices. I can do my agings. I can do all of this from icons as well. Accounts payable, have my tab open here. I can set up on my AP tab, my workflow, report shortcuts. I can get to all things accounts payable in my vendors and purchasing tab. Or if I could come here to number 4 and do the same functionality. So my AP invoices, all my aging reports. If I go to pay vendors, I can do that within accounts payable. And we handle 1099s as well. And then payroll, everybody's favorite. We have a full payroll module. So there are many ways if you need to do remote time entry, we can get the time into, there are several programs that get the time into Sage 100 Contractor. We also handle unions and certified payroll. So if you need to produce certified payroll, we can do that right out of the system, as well as we partner with Atrix. Atrix is a third-party company that keeps all of our forms for our federal and state filings up to date. So full payroll, everything from your time entry to your certified union if applicable, and filings as well. And then project management, everybody's favorite. So here's where the nuts and bolts of the job cost is going to exist. This is where you're going to set up your cost codes. The cost codes in this system, and I like to point this out, if you're not using cost codes today, I know not every company comes on board using cost codes, then we suggest you use a simple cost code structure. So maybe you start out with a couple cost codes, one for materials, one for labor, or whatever that might be. We work with you to determine the best format. Or if you're a GC and you need 50 cost codes, that's fine too. We would work with you and determine the best route to set up your company and pick the best structure for you. We handle cost codes, I mean, not cost codes, purchase orders and subcontracts as well. So your commitments will be in here, as well as your change orders and all of your job cost reports, which we'll go into some here in a minute. I have all of those on my projects tab. I have all of the good ones, my over and under billing, my committed cost report, subcontract audit form, some of my personal favorites here that I have saved as shortcuts on my projects tab. So when I need to run those, I could just run those off of these icons here. And then if you use heavy equipment, this is an add-on module. It gives you the ability to job cost the equipment. You can set up daily, weekly, monthly, hourly rates for your equipment and charge those to jobs, and then keep track of your equipment to determine if the equipment is profitable with what you charge it out and what you have cost-wise. And then estimating, we also have what's called basic estimating. It is an add-on module to this program. Basic estimating, I'd say, is Sage's first level of estimating. We also have the ability to, there are 2 higher levels of estimating that also integrate back into Sage 100 Contractor. So if you have a very sophisticated estimating need, know that we have 3 levels of estimating, and we can work with you on determining the best course of action for estimating as well.
Kathy, on the poll, a couple people said that they did not need to see basic estimating. I wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And we won't spend any time there. And then scheduling, this gives you the ability to do a Gantt chart. So if you needed the ability to create a Gantt chart, schedule out your jobs, maybe by task or by area, and produce a Gantt chart for a given job, we can do that with the scheduling module. This is part of, it's not an add-on, so it is part of the core program. And Lauren, did anyone need to see service receivables service? Did that come through on any of the poll questions?
It did, yes, it did. Sorry, I had muted myself. Yeah, somebody did say they would like to see the service component.
Okay, I will circle back to service receivables and talk about that here at the end. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how complete and all-encompassing this program is. I'm now going to go ahead and drill into a job. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a job here. And I'm going to call up the same one that I did off of the job number 4, just to give us a little bit of consistency here. So when we set up a job, our jobs have statuses. So this is in current status, circling that number 4. We also have, maybe it's in bid status, or maybe it's complete or closed. Job statuses give you the ability, some of the reports can be run by job status. So it's a way of narrowing down some of the reporting for, let's say, your current jobs. And then job type, these are user defined. So you defined what your job types are. My sample company has a very long list, but maybe you have commercial or residential or governmental or whatever they are. Once again, giving you the ability to categorize jobs and also narrow down some of the reporting by those job types. And then general information, who are we working for? In this particular example, we're working for our client, 178 Target, and what department are we working in? And right below that is that certified payroll. So if you have the need for certified payroll, this is the box that you would check to drive that accumulation of your certified payroll. And then coming to the right, excuse me, is our contract amount. Whenever you're here, if I click F7, no, I'm not going to click F7. Here we go. function F7 on this machine. I'm on a new machine today. Um, what you have the ability to do is this amount field has an asterisk by it. So we can make this a required field. So that means whoever's setting up this job must populate this field. It gives us the ability to say, if you're going to set up a job, you must capture information X, Y, and Z. So you don't allow your team members to skip something or add it later. If it's critical and you want it right now, you can make it a required field. That means they won't be able to save this record without populating that field. So you also have the ability to change the way fields read. So right now this reads amount. If I want to change this to contract, I can change it to contract and click save. Now I have the ability to read that as a contract. So if you have different language that your team is used to using, know that you can change the field descriptions. Contacts and personnel. Who do you want? Who are your job contacts? So in this case, I have a couple job contacts here. I have emails. I know there are some hidden columns here. So if I show and hide my columns, maybe I want to include their phone and job titles. So you always have the ability to change the look and feel of the screen and the columns you want to show or not show. For example, if you're never going to use job title, maybe you don't want to show that one, you don't want to even look at it, you right click and you say show and hide columns, and you just uncheck it, click OK, and now it takes it off of our view. Once we get the view we like, we right click and save our view. And now the system knows every time Kathy comes into this job screen and she clicks on this tab, I'm going to only see these 3 columns. It's kind of my personal view, and the system will save that for us. In the middle are additional items we can capture. If you wanted to capture who estimated this or who is a superintendent or who's the PM, you can save this additional information. It is not required. A lot of our clients will track this information purely from the reporting aspect. Maybe down the road, you'll want to look at, um, John Bailey's jobs, for example, for superintendent. And maybe you'll want to compare those. By capturing this information, that is something you would be able to access later. So think of it as maybe your reporting use in the future. And then project dates in sales information. These project dates, remember you can change the field names. So today I have mine changed to milestones, milestone 1, 2, 3, 4. Those were not their original titles. When we get back to the dashboard, I will show you where you can build alerts, and you can say, you can tell the system set up an alert to read the milestone fields and let me know 30 days before milestone 4 is coming due. So it gives you the ability, there's an alerting tool that can read into these fields, give you warnings when something is coming due. It's a nice feature to have that alert functionality. On the upper right-hand corner, some common icons I'd like to tell everyone about. The binoculars are our queries. So when I click on that, you'll see a list of queries here. Some will come out of the box with the program, and some are edited, and I created some unique ones. So you're always able to edit these queries. You're always able to create your own queries. A query is simply a quick report, a way to run a quick report. Continuing to the right, the red pencil with a piece of paper is custom fields. So if you wanted to enter custom fields to this screen, you would be able to enter them. If you had some additional information you wanted to capture, that would be a use for a custom field. You can also build custom fields into reports if you need to. And then to the right of that, the piece of paper with the paper clip are our attachments. So if I open that up, make this a little bit bigger, you can see I have some different attachments here. If I double click on one of these, I think this is a wiring picture. I have a wiring PDF here that I've attached. You can attach PDFs, you can attach photos, you can drag and drop emails. It's a nice way to store information related to a job or part of the program. Have a sketch attached to there. So keep in mind on all the screens, you will see this paper clip with the piece of paper behind it. And then our printing menu gives you the ability to print to up at the top PDF, Word, and Excel, and that is throughout the program. You can also email. You can email a report as an Outlook attachment, or if you use maybe Gmail or something like that, you can also set up that system to email right out of here as well. And to the left of that, a very popular feature is our report scheduler. So let's say you wanted to maybe not have your entire team in the system at this, maybe you wanted to restrict who had access to what. What you can do is you can set up reports on our scheduler. So you can say, I might not want Lauren in here every day, but I want Lauren to get her job cost reports. So I can go ahead and schedule them, reports to arrive in Lauren's email every Friday at 5 a.m. So that way Lauren's still getting her reporting. She's still, getting information about her job, but maybe she's not in here day in and day out. So that's a nice ability to possibly not have to buy as many licenses. All right, coming back to my main screen, notice the buttons on the bottom. So these give you the ability, it's similar to that Project Work Center where I started. So Sage did, like I mentioned before, a great job of being able to navigate around the program, have the ability to have this functionality to drill down and see the related pieces of this job. So if I go to accounts payable invoices, and I see all of my AP invoices here for this job, I'm going to pick on this last one. I'm going to go ahead and double click on that, and I'm going to drill down. And now it's taking me to, if you remember, this is the exact same invoice I drilled down off of that Project Work Center. I'm just getting to it from a different spot. So whether I'm getting to it from the actual job module where I have the tabs across the bottom where I'm in now, or the Project Work Center where I drill down onto my invoices, I'm able to get to that source record. If I just told you about the paperclip attachment. If I had scanned a copy of this AP invoice and attached it in my paperclip, I would then be able to see even the source record. I'd be able to get to the invoice right from all the screens as well. So some pretty powerful information that you're able to access from numerous places. I'll even show you one more place where we can get to this in a minute. Not only can I get to my AP invoices, if I wanted to get to those AR invoices, here we go back to our progress billings that were issued here, and I can drill down into these as well to get to those invoices. And I can also get to, let's say, change orders. So if I wanted to get to a change order, I can click on that. Let me look at change order number 8 here. I can drill down into that change. And now I am into my job change order. So what we'll see here, and normally I'm going to tell you, you don't have to autofill all of these columns like I'm doing. Since I am in a new space and a new computer, I'm having to do this because I'm in a very large monitor and it's not my normal setup. So I apologize for that, but you would not have to do that every time like you're seeing me do that. That's normally not what I have to do. So I am in this change order and I am on the owner change or the prime part of the change order. What did I request for this change? I requested 780. And we got approved for 750. So this is how it's going to affect my contract amount. And then the second tab is how it's going to affect my budget or my subcontract agreement if this was related to a subcontractor. So now I'm saying, okay, it's going to take 5 hours and I need to increase my budget amount by $500. So giving me the ability, and how do I want to cost code this? I want to put it to electrical wiring labor on my budget. I'm going to say it's labor, and that is how I'm going to handle those. So then down at the bottom, you're able to see a profit, the gross margin, all of the costs related to this, and is my change making sense on the cost side of things? And once again, got there from what I call this Job Central. I won't go into every tab here, but they all work the same way with the drill down capabilities and being able to navigate around the program. On out of here. And so now I'm going to take you to our dashboard. This is where I normally start. I want to do a little different spin on it today. So this is my Sage 100 Contractor dashboard. It is, again, going back to the same message, it's drill downable, it's real time, and there is security that you build around this as well. So there's an add and remove content on the dashboard at the very top. I'm hovering over it. And when I click on that, it's a little bit bigger. You can see the different dash parts by area. You can build security, like I mentioned, around that. That's always important. If you need to add a dash part, it's a green plus sign. If you want to remove one that you have on there today, it's a red X. So pretty easy to navigate around and determine what you want on your dashboard. It's general ledger, AP, AR, and projects are the areas of your dash parts. So if I go back to my dashboard, here's that alerts tool that I told you about. If I double click on my alerts, go to my alerts manager here. Here is where you can set up those custom alerts. So I have one here. I always pick on expiring vendor insurance certificates. So let's pretend I was going to edit this. So it's a 3-step wizard that you create to tell the system, how to look for the vendor insurance certificates. Those are captured. The expiration dates are captured in the vendor screen. So we're telling the system to look into accounts payable and look into that field. And then I'm telling the system 30 days before they expire, I want to know about it. And then I set up my parameters. So it can be a very useful tool. Here I'm telling the system, you do the work and you just tell me when I have certificates that are about to expire. And how do I want to know about them? Do I want to have the alerts sent to my dashboard? Do I want to have the alerts, maybe I want them emailed to me? And who do I want them emailed to? Just Kathy, or maybe Kathy and Lauren, or whomever. So you determine how you get the alerts, you determine how often you get the alerts, and you determine who gets the alerts. So once again, telling the system what you want to know and how it can work for you. Go ahead and close on out of the alerts tool. I'm back to my dashboard. And then if I scroll down a little bit, here are some dash parts that are related to jobs. So I'm going to pick again on that electrical job. And now I'm in what's called our job status report. It starts with the contract price at the top. I had some owner prime changes of 20,000, revised contract amount. It tells me how much I've invoiced and what's my balance on the contract. And then I have my budget, change orders. Looks like I have something yet to be approved. And then my cost to date. So I'm over budget. I could see I'm over budget by about 5,000. And I can drill down on those costs. So once again, what do I want to see? I want to see the detail. I want to see what's going on. This is a longer job. I've got a lot in this one. And I'm able to see, yep, here's materials, 7,750. Let me go ahead and drill down on this. Guess what? I'm going to say go to the source. And once again, I'm back to that AP invoice. So it's the same, you can see I can get to the same place. I think I've gotten to it 3 or 4 different ways. But once again, being able to navigate, the program is very user friendly. There's no one way to do something. You're going to be able to drill down. You're going to be able to get to all of those source records, whether you're a dashboard user or a project work center, which is where I was at the very beginning, or the project. If you're living in a project, you can get there as well. So some very powerful ways to navigate throughout the system. I'm going to pause. Lauren, are there any questions that have come through in chat so far that I can answer?
Yes. Does the scheduling allow for employee schedules?
I would say it does, but it's not more of where an employee can go and see their weekly schedule. It's more for management to see, more of a resource scheduler. We have a program called Sage Field Operations, and Sage Field Operations is a cloud-based tool, and that gives you the ability to create daily, weekly, monthly schedules. It also gives your employees the ability to log in and see their schedules and enter time as well. So if you're looking for more of a tool to schedule your employees, I would look at the Sage Field Operations, which fully integrates into here. I think that's a great tool for scheduling your employees, and as well as entering time if it's something you're looking to do as well.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, there's another one. Are you going to show a remote service tech app or interface, or how it works?
For service, yeah, I can jump in there now. First, I'm going to show you service receivables. And here's where you would come to create a work order. So if I open this up, now I'm in an individual work order. And here's where I would begin to set this up. I can pick my client. Folder. I can set up reminders. I have a pop-up window. Margaret has an outstanding balance. I can, tell Margaret she has to collect this. I can set up quick lists for my my common calls. I'm setting up a service job. I have service types as well. So you would have your different service types that you would set up for your work orders. And then you have notes. You have blue notes and yellow notes where you can take notes from the call. Go ahead and save this. So right now, I have set up work order 7174 for Margaret Fuller. I can go ahead. There is a dispatch board within here. So if I wanted to go ahead and open up the dispatch board, and here's the one I just created for Margaret, I can take this, I can drag and drop it to my technicians, and I can use this internal dispatch board. So this is all within Sage 100 Contractor. It has this dispatch board internally where you can look for a day and a week's view. So that might be enough to to have what you're looking for. I think I have it open yep, I do. The mobile tool here. This is the mobile tool. This is its own separate demo typically, but this is the remote tool, which it gives you the ability to, I mentioned assignments and scheduling. This is what I was talking about when you might want to have your technician log in and see their weekly or daily schedule. It also has a different dispatch board and scheduler. And this reads right into Sage 100 Contractors. So here's the one I just created. My AC is not working. So I have the ability on this to set up daily, weekly, next 2 weeks, and monthly schedules. My team can enter their time from here, depending on what functionality you need. This is I would say this is a stronger dispatch board than what you saw in the program, but it really goes back to what your functionality is and what you're looking for. But this is a separate, like I said, a separate presentation. And if you're interested, we have some ones we've done that are pre-recorded that we can send you, which would go through the technician opening up the work order and entering time or entering job time. All of that can be done from here. And it, like I said, syncs right back into Sage 100 Contractor. It's a pretty powerful integration to get through the two programs. So hopefully that gave you at least a glimpse of how it would work. And when you enter time in Sage Field Operations, it's going to flow back to this payroll module in daily payroll. And it's going to flow right in here directly. So it's a pretty nice, quick integration. It gets the time in a matter of a couple seconds. So great question. Lauren, any other questions for now?
I don't see any other ones that came through. Somebody did want to see the recording of the Sage, was it Sage Field Operations that you mentioned? So I'll make sure to send that to you all.
Okay, great. And then a couple of the reports. So I know I'm already running out of time, but I did want to just show you a couple of the key reports that I like to have shown in my presentations. Here is my WIP report. Some call this the over-under billing, some call it the WIP report. So this is the ability to, here are my jobs, my total contract, estimated cost of completion, estimated gross profit, and then my percent complete. And if you go to the right, my all important over and under billings. So whether you're running this, sometimes I know our clients adjust this monthly, but I have other clients who don't adjust this until the quarterly or even annually. Some do that annually. So able to run this, also exports this to Excel if you need to do that as well, and maybe send it to your financial or accounting firm. That would be a good one there. Committed cost report. This is one that also some great information on this one. I'm going to go ahead and run it for one of my demo jobs here. A labor burden factor there. And what this does, think of this one as a report that kind of marries a lot of different parts of the program. So I'm within my job 60. It's called Jamestown. Here it's a longer job. I have a lot of cost codes with this job. Keep in mind, you can have a job with 1 or 2 cost codes, or you can have a job with it as many as are listed here, or hundreds if you want. People always ask me, how do you determine how many cost codes you need? I would say, think of cost codes as how detailed do you want to budget your jobs? Because when you have a cost code bucket for a budget, you have to put your costs in there. So to really get the power out of it. So if you want, if you're just concerned with a bucket for labor and a bucket for material, you wouldn't need all of this, temporary utilities or phone data. But if this is important to you, then by all means, we would direct you to create a longer list of cost codes and budgeting. So every company is different. I don't think I've seen one that's the same. So there is no right or wrong there. But budget and changes, column 1, cost to date. These are actual costs that have come in to date for this job, for this cost code. So think of AP invoices, think of payroll paid. That's what you're going to find in this. And the reason I like this report so much is it takes it a step further. It says, all right, we know what's come in. But don't forget what's yet to come in. We still have some subcontracts out here and they haven't invoiced us yet. Or we still have some purchase orders. We have some materials that we haven't received yet. So we can't forget about these costs because they're out there. And then we have some labor that we've been charged to the job, but we haven't paid it out yet. If we paid it out, it would be in this cost to date column, but it's still yet to be paid. And so what's our true remaining budget? So column 1 minus 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is truly how we're going to end up in these buckets. So there's a lot of negatives here. Real world, you wouldn't want any, but this proves a point. So if you're running this, let's say you're running this on a weekly basis and you're able to see, okay, how, last week I had all positives, but this week all of a sudden I have 50,000 negative in one of the lines. So what's going on? Are we truly going over budget? Did we put something to the wrong job? Did we put something to the wrong cost code? But by monitoring this type of report and having it look at the complete picture of the job, you're going to be able to get better results and see when things are going south faster, if they are, and maybe then calling the need to get a change order issued. So some better information is going to lend to your more profitable outcomes. Right. And then if you're do a lot with subcontractors, maybe you want to look at this subcontract audit form. This is good if you're dealing with, like I said, a lot of subcontractors. I'm going to click on this. An idea. Somebody calls, a sub calls and says, what's going on with my subcontract? Where, did you get my payment? You can run this quick report. It tells you for this job, for this vendor, here's Mike's Excavating. Here's our subcontract amount. Here are the invoices we have received. We've received the full amount. We have nothing left to pay. So we could say, Mike's Excavating, yes, all of your amounts have been paid. The check's in the mail. So to get this information, to call up a subcontract, to have the layout of whether there were change orders or invoices or outstanding balances, nice to see this type of information on one screen and have it, being able to report back to the sub with a quick response. And then the last report I'm going to show here is maybe you're labor intensive. Maybe you want to look at a job report that looks at actual to budget, but hours only. Maybe you don't want somebody to see the dollars. Maybe they're not, that's something you don't want them to see. So we can run this one strictly for hours. It's going back to how many hours we budgeted on our job versus how many actual hours came in through payroll. So here, once again, it's by our cost codes. Here are our budgeted hours, comes from the budget that was entered. I didn't have any change orders with additional hours. And then actual hours, you can see here, am I over budget per line? Am I under budget per line? Once again, I like this one for team members who maybe you're labor intensive, you want them to see the hours, you maybe don't want them to see the dollars. So that might be something that would go out to additional team members. And there's so many other reports, profitability reports and job status reports and just labor journal. You can get labor out for a job for a date range or an employee or, there's so many ways to get the information out of the system. I know that's a common question coming from QuickBook users to be able to have labor journals and job cost journals. All of those exist in this program as well. All right, Lauren, I'm going to pause. Any additional questions that have come in?
Yeah, there's one related to the labor report. On the reports, does the labor update daily and how does it calculate it?
The labor is going to update. Well, I'm going to back up a second and say it's going to depend on what report you're running. Some of the I would say a majority of the reports update when payroll is run, but there are some reports that update prior to where you saw accrued payroll. So accrued payroll in that one committed cost report meant payroll hadn't been run yet. So hours had been entered, but it hadn't been run yet. So some of the reports will include that type of column for accrued payroll, so unpaid. The rest of them are going to be updated based on when payroll is run. I know if you're labor intensive, you don't want to wait that week, so that's why there are some reports where you're going to see that accrued column or being able to see prior to it being paid. If it's paid, it's fully burdened, so it's how your payroll was set up. If it is more of the prior to being paid, so your accrued payroll column, if you saw when I ran that report, I entered a burden rate. I put in 30%. So that way it gives you the ability, if it's not fully burdened, i.e. payroll hasn't been run yet, you can enter a rate and factor in an estimated burden rate for you, just to see what that looks like prior to the payroll being run. So a couple, different ways to do that, but those are the two main ways. So hopefully that made sense. Any other questions, Lauren?
Someone asked if you could show the cost to complete report.
I can look. See, I'm not sure which I have this done for. So this is one you can look at a point in time. Notice I just spoke to the labor burden factor, so also giving you the ability for factoring in the labor burden here. So percent complete, actual, cost to complete, cost to date, are we over or under? So this is going to give you the ability to add some different options. So if I go to calculate, if I want to maybe recalculate this based on cost to complete from a percentage, or do I want the percentage from the cost to complete? So you can do it either way to calculate it, percentages or actually dollars, and then have the report recalculate to get the different outcomes. That is the cost to complete report. One other thing, I know we have a couple minutes and I just realized I did not talk about this, but it is important. The Home and Resources tab, and so I'll wrap up with this. This is where you're going to find information about the program, help topics, what's new with the program. If you ever need product documentation, you can see here there's a year-end guide. Maybe you have questions on payroll and running year-end or running 1099s or things like that. Maybe you want the product overview. There's full PDF support in here, full guides within the program here. You can also come to Sage Support. There is a knowledge base with a lot of, if you have a common question, there's an article written to give you answers. You also have a live chat. So Aktion, we have our consultants here that will help you get implemented and trained and get up and running. Once you're up and running, if you want to ask your daily questions to Sage, you can do that with the live chat button in the program. You can access it through this Home and Resources tab, or on the very bottom in the left, see it says live chat. You would click on that. It would open up a browser window. You would put in your name and subject and account number and tell them what you want to chat about and click start chat. So that is how you can use the chat to get Sage support. Also, if you want to submit a product idea, you wished it did blank. You submit your product idea, other users vote on it, and they tend to bring the most voted on ideas into future releases of the program. And that's their enhancement program here. There's also a strong online community and Sage University if you ever want to take classes for the program. So that gives you a little bit about the support and the help and all of that type of information. So Lauren, any last minute questions before we wrap up?
I do not see any more, Kathy. I just want to, there technically is one. To answer your question, you are going to get a copy of this recording at the end. I will send that out to each one of you. Yes. That was the only one.
All right, great. Well, before I turn it back to Lauren, I want to thank everyone for participating today. I want to definitely thank you all for your questions. I love questions. It's always great that you guys are participating and can get those questions answered. So thank you to those who asked those questions, and thank you for your time today. All right, Lauren, back to you.
All right, thanks, Kathy. Yeah, thank you all very much for your time. I'm so happy. It's always fun to have an interactive demo. I will be following up with each one of you, sending the recording, connecting you with an Aktion account manager, sales rep, so that you can ask more questions. And I will still send out that Sage Field Operations recording as well. So thank you all for joining us, and have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.